The government attempts to ban TikTok again for the fifth time. Dragon Dogma 2 players are having way too much fun with the character creator. A alleged Spider-Man multiplayer game, proof of concept, leaks online, and the Sim 5 looks like trash. Welcome to another episode of The Blip. So, for the what is it, like the third time? Good God. So for like the third time in a row, the government has decided that they are going to try to go for a TikTok ban. But they've decided to change their tactics. So initially, the first two variants, I believe, of this bill were just straight up bans, attempts to ban TikTok as a social media platform. They did not work. It was found to be unconstitutional because it was taking away from, I believe, 128 million people in the United States who use TikTok's ability to express themselves as a form of freedom of speech. But this would not deter that of the US Congress. They will always find another way to shoot themselves in the foot and do exactly what the people do not want. Because according to them, in their capacity as the great lawmen that they actually are, they must protect our privacy and our private information. Forget the fact that we created a CIA Homeland Security program after 9/11 that collected all of your text messages and voicemails for about 5 years. Ignore the fact that we collect data about you from Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You have to listen to me. It's the dirty Chinese. You must fear the dirty Chinese because how dare they give you the power? How dare they give you the power to express yourselves and share information amongst one another? That is the overall threat. So, because they cannot ban TikTok, they have decided to request that ByteDance, the people who create the app TikTok, separate from any type of Chinese connection and sell TikTok to another company. Of course, that is not going to happen. That'll be the equivalent of going to Meta and telling them to sell Facebook, or going to Sony and telling them to sell PlayStation to another company because you don't like them and you don't like the country that they are allegedly in bed with. So this ban on ByteDance is currently in, I believe, Congress. And once Congress passes it, if they get it passed, because this Congress has been absolute dog shit at attempting to pass anything, but apparently all of the congressmen are on board in regards to this because, you know, hey, we've got to make sure those Congress people, man, we've got to make sure that we get that money from Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and YouTube, and all the social media platforms that are platformed in America that are lobbying against TikTok. We got to make sure that we secure that bag and ban that evil Chinese company that collects your data, as though we don't also collect your data. Who knows? Nothing really surprises me in regards to American politics anymore. American politics is an absolute fucking cesspool of dog shit. It always has been. It always will be, and they will always work against the public interest and against the interests of their constituents and their fellow Americans. They have been unable, in my opinion, for the entire year, or no. When did this Congress? It's been 2 years now. They have been unable since this Congress essentially took over and became a Republican majority. They've been unable to pass any bill in any agreements in any way, shape, or form to help the American people. But for whatever reason, they've all decided that, you know, we've got to band together and we've got to ban TikTok because, you know, they're collecting American information, and we are not in the middle of also collecting that American information. whatever. I just wanted to bring this up because TikTok is a lot of the way in which I also share content, and I talk to fans, and I get to know fans both on the Blerdly side and the Blerdcalibur side. On the gaming side, TikTok's existence has really allowed a lot of these indie games, or I really shouldn't call them indie games. I should call them double A games because they're not triple A, or just A 1A studio games like Helldivers and Pal World and so a bunch of others to basically become and have higher traction on the mainstream because of how TikTok allows things to essentially go viral. TikTok has also been one of the things that has basically crippled games like Skull and Bones and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, because people were able to sit down and basically play these games and then give their reviews of this game, and then from there those reviews would be shared amongst hundreds of thousands of people who would in turn share it again to millions of people, and so on and so forth in perpetuity forever. People being able to form opinions about something before they actually have to sit down and play it, warding them off and keeping them away. Who knows what's going to happen. All right. But for the most part, we're going to stay in the loop. We're going to keep watching this whole TikTok situation unfold because, like I said, no one shoots themselves in the foot better than the American Congress, than the American government. So we'll see where exactly this all leads in the foreseeable future. Moving on. And in other news, we've got Dragon's Dogma 2 again. And yes, once again, it is not a beta. It is about the character creator. Can I say that the character creator for this game is disgustingly robust? And when I say disgustingly robust, I absolutely mean it. I really feel as though that the character creator for this game is really going to it's really going to be the staple that lends to more and more replays of the game, because not only are you essentially creating the character that you're going to be maining and playing as, you're also designing the characters that are going to be assist you. I forgot what the minions are called in this franchise, and we're seeing so many creations of characters. A lot of Baldur's Gate 3 characters, such as Shadowheart and Laziel. We're seeing Hrothgar from Final Fantasy being created. We're seeing Kratos being created. Daenerys Targaryen. We've got our boy Paul Atreides from Dune and Dune 2. So many characters are essentially being created inside of the creator. I've seen a Geralt of Rivia. I've seen a Bully Maguire. So I feel as though it's going to be one of those things that cause people to constantly jump back and create a new character and take that character on a completely new journey. Basically the Big Brother version of Baldur's Gate 3, where Baldur's Gate 3's character creator was just absolutely so robust that you would always jump back into creator, create a new character, and take them on a new adventure. You're going to be seeing that again with Dragon's Dogma, and for the most part, I absolutely cannot wait. I've been testing out the character creator myself. It has been a delight. I already have my character set up and the minions set up as well. So I'm just basically waiting for the game to launch so that I can ride off into the sunset with Rhea Ripley. But moving on, we've got Spider-Man news again. Interestingly enough, a long time ago, I think before Spider-Man 2 dropped, there was a leak, and there was a threat where hackers had essentially been able to gain access to Insomniac's private servers. I don't remember if this was an Insomniac leak or if this was a Sony hack that basically the hackers were able to get a whole lot of files for unreleased things that Sony was essentially working on. But inside of those files, we had stuff for a potential Venom solo game, Wolverine's game, and something else that Insomniac was working on, which was a Spider-Man multiplayer game. Well, just the other day, the trailer for said multiplayer game actually got leaked. And I have to say that it looks super interesting. You see multiple different versions of Spider Society or the Spider People, such as Peter Parker, Miles Morales, Spider Gwen, Ben Riley, and Miguel O'Hara, and basically web slinging through what looks like version 1.5 of the city from Spider Man 1 with a little bit of mix of the movement tech from Spider Man 2. This really does seem as though, for the most part, it was a proof of concept. Like, hey, this is how the game is going to operate with all of these different characters, because there are unique assets in this trailer and unique animations that are not available in either the first Spider-Man game or the second Spider-Man game, and they all are around the character of Spider-Gwen. So the question is whether or not there is going to be additional DLC down the road for Spider-Gwen in Spider-Man 2, even though the Spider-Man 2 DLC was allegedly leaked, and we'll probably cover that another day. In regards to this is very, very interesting because it is based around the idea of Spider-Verse, where there are multiple different Spider people from different timelines interacting inside of New York. Now, here's the question. Do we take control of one of the Spider people a la Gotham Knights, where you basically choose which Spider person you want to play as, you take them out on patrol, you can level them up, gain new abilities, gain new gadgets for your weapons and your gear, and etc., 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 yada, yada, yada. Or do you get to create your own Spider person, and while you are basically moving around New York, you get to interact with all of these other Spider people that are in the city as well? As in, your Spider person is from a random Earth, and you're basically interacting with the other Spider people that are already full-fledged and trained and equipped Spider-Men and women. That's questions that I would love to have seen answered in regards to this. I do not think we're getting any more answers to this, because like I said, this was never supposed to get out. It feels as though it was more or less a proof of concept that they were going to show to Sony, like, hey, this is what we're working on the side, something that we would like to do. Are you interested? If yes, we'll pursue it. If not, we'll drop it. Sounds as though Sony said, we're not interested, you can go ahead and drop it. So they dropped it, and then they left it alone. But I'm really sitting around waiting to see what else we're going to get from the Spider-Man 2 game, because I know that there is big DLC on the way. There are a lot of loose threads that we simply did not wrap up in any way, shape, or form. So it's waiting to see. It's a sit and wait type of situation, where we are literally waiting to see what exactly it is that Insomniac is going to give us in the future going down the pipe. But moving on to the final hilarious story of the day. And here we are at the final story. I am not a Sims person. I have dated women who are Sims people, that they dedicate hours to The Sims, and I mean creating special lives and storylines for their Sims, and then creating special events that are going to happen to their Sims in their lives that is either going to make their Sim super happy or have them die in absolute miserable death. I have dated women like that. I have watched the chaos that unfolds. I have watched the absolute scumbaggery that happens to the relationships and lives of some of these Sims. So I am not completely in tune with Sims lore or Sims gaming, but I still found it super hilarious, because I don't remember if it was The Sims 4, but I remember when The Sims 4 came out, it might have been The Sims 4 that came out, that there was this big controversy about it being basically 3 steps back to The Sims 3. And it seems as though The Sims 5 may be going down that exact same route, because a screenshot was essentially leaked the other day, which showed the graphics for The Sims. And it seems as though the graphics are very, very Well, the art style, according to some people, is very, very cartoony, and it looks as though it's a step back from its predecessor. Where this Sims project, because it's going to be on multiple different platforms, it might be aiming for a cartoony art style because it's going to go onto phones and mobile devices. And people are uproar. They are mad. If it's one group of people you don't want to piss off, it's the Sims society, like the Sims group of people that like to have their characters look not exactly real like people, but at least distinguishable in the way in which you can design them. It seems as though the art style that they decided to take has basically pulled a lot of people away from The Sims 5, with a lot of people looking at it saying, I probably won't go and play this game. I'd rather just install a shit ton of mods for The Sims 4 or a shit ton of mods for The Sims 3 and just enjoy myself over there in that corner and let this game go out and essentially die. And then there are a bunch of people who are saying that maybe that's not the case. What you're basically seeing is a early pre-alpha version of what the game is going to end up looking like. Do not panic yet, but once they give us an actual trailer, then we will panic. Like I said, I am not a part of the Sims community. I have only ever just watched the Sims community in passing as I'm crossing behind somebody else playing on a computer. So to me, this looks like shit. I'm sorry to say it looks bad. It looks like ass, and I'm really hoping that people get the graphical design that they are hoping for. And what you're basically seeing is somebody who leaked a screenshot from, let's say, the tablet phone version of the game. But that's it for The Sims. There wasn't a show yesterday. Your boy was sick. I was losing my voice on Monday. Completely lost my voice on Tuesday. But lost it for the most part of Tuesday, but we're back to our daily thing. We're going to be dropping the show for today, and then of course there's going to be a show that drops again tomorrow on Thursday. But let me know what you thought about the clips, the news, what I brought you today on this episode of The Blip. Comment down below, let me know, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.